All right, everyone. Welcome back to this week's session of Banks Wants You to Know, your latest source for financial discipline and literacy. So, in today's episode, I want to talk about another thing that has become popular over the last decade that is causing our money to go down the drain. Last week, it was the topic of subscriptions and how they were making our money disappear. So, let me set the scene for you for this one. So, you see something online and you're immediately drawn to it. You're like, I gotta have this thing, like right now. And you're already picturing yourself with it. Maybe it's a nice outfit. Maybe it's the next big 70-inch flat screen TV that promises the best picture you've ever seen. Or even the latest bed that guarantees a great sleep every night. But there's one problem. You look at that price and your eyes get big, and then you just throw in the towel because you realize there's no way you can buy it, at least not right now. But then you look deeper and you see that there is a way. You can pay it over time, just like a loan. It's now the age of split payments, and you can use them on almost anything, including the products that I just mentioned. And now it's going even deeper into airline tickets, game tickets, concert tickets, just about everything you can think of. And they're all done by these five, or even there may even be more now. These companies that I'm pretty sure that look familiar to you if you've used a split payment for anything within the past couple of years. Yes, it's cool to have something now without paying full price, but what are the financial implications of getting carried away with splitting payments for just about everything that you buy? So I'll mention three issues with this method and then a solution for each because of course, this is a solution-based channel. So let's go ahead, jump into it. When I discovered this for myself a few years ago, this problem was one of the first things that came to mind. It was during the Christmas season. I was getting my funds in order to buy gifts for others and like one or two for myself. I said to myself, it wouldn't hurt to try this for one of the gifts. It happened to be a jacket for myself, I believe, from H&M. But yes, I did get the jacket by only paying a portion of the price, getting it immediately. But the payments lingered into the new year, and that's a time when we're all trying to recover from the spending craze of Christmas. In other words, it confirmed to me that it's essentially another bill that we have to add to our list to account for. In most cases, it turns out to be an additional bill for something that was not really a necessity. Of course, we can create some space for the wants in our lives, but those are options we all have to weigh. One way to combat this problem is to pay ahead on an existing bill, such as a phone bill, for an example. Here, I got a list of bills. Let's say someone makes $3,000 a month. Got a couple listed here. You add these up, that gets you to $2,650. And come down here, that leads you to discretionary income amount of $350 to use for the rest of the month. Now, if you decided to, all right, let's get rid of this phone bill for the next month. Let's say there's an item that's coming up. You didn't have the money for it in this current month, but going into next month, you're like, okay, I'm going to get it. I just found out about things like Afterpay, Klarna, things like that, and I'm going to use that to get this product or this service that I want. Let's say out of this 350, I'm going to pay another 150 to pay the phone bill for the next month. Yes, that's going to be, that's going to leave you with $200 in that current month to play with, but at least in the month afterwards, when you add that 150 back, that gives you 500 to play with, and that way you can use it for other things, groceries, other things that you like, and then also start that split payment and plan on that certain thing that you like. And that's a way to free up some funds to prepare for that split payment purchase. Another way is to pay off the split payment plan early after first two payments so that the plan doesn't linger into the next month, which results in another month of having less discretionary income than you would have if you wouldn't have had the split payment plan. If I didn't inform you all earlier, I might have missed this, but I have P here for the problem, then the S for solution. While the reality of making split payments for practically anything you can think of can be a problem financially, at least temporarily, this one I'll touch on can be an even bigger problem, in my opinion. And that's when we have multiple split payment plans all at one time. Then that means there are multiple bills being created at once as well, different amounts on different dates that have to be managed. It's like having a staggered schedule for extra bills. And then depending on how often you're using a split payment for certain things, you could be making a payment almost every week, especially if used constantly. So a solution to that would be to choose one item at a time that is worth breaking up payments for and make sure that it fits into your budget for the next few weeks. So what I have over here, carried over from the first example, would be discretionary income, the free money, what I've been calling free money. I have $350 for the month, and then I have a list of things I've done over the past month. Say I spent $160 on clothes, on a new wardrobe. Summer's coming up, taking a flight to Miami. It was $300. 70-inch TV to put in the man cave. Ran me about $400, and then there was some nice shoes that came out. Had to get them, $200. And then what I did over here is carried it down. Let's assume that with split payment plans that you're making a payment once every 2 weeks. So this bring down to 40, 75, 100, and 50 from their respective purchases. That adds up to 265, which if you subtract it from that, leaves you with only $85 to spend as the rest of your discretionary income. And then that can be the problem with so many all at once. That took 3 weeks. That took 3 weeks for that to happen. You accumulated $265 in payments, and that doesn't only just happen for this month, but that carries into the next month as well. So you'll be short in discretionary income for the next month as well. They may take away from your saving. They may take away from any other things that you had plans for, which is why I suggest use it for one product at a time, get it paid off, get it cleared, then move to another thing. See what's a priority for you at that time, get that paid, then move to the next thing. And then to elaborate on that, for example, there's something that's worth $200 that you want right now, like these shoes at Foot Locker, and you want to make the decision to make that to break up that purchase into 4 payments. Then you can create some room for $50 every 2 weeks, that typical time frame, if your budget allows it. But when you add more separate purchases on these split payment plans, things can get out of hand. They can get hard to mismanage. Then you're left with little to no money to do other things. The last problem I have here financially for these split payment plans is really a mental one. When we start to really take advantage of purchasing things so easily and delaying full payment, we start to have so many of these purchases to the point that it gets out of hand, as explained earlier. Another part of it getting out of hand is simply just beginning to make payments on their due dates, and or making space in the budget to make the payments, causing them to become past due. And as of now, and luckily for most of us, the companies who offer split payments do not report to the credit bureaus, which basically means there's not a negative effect on your credit report. But that could change one day, especially as this method increases in popularity and becomes more in demand since it's convenient for the shopper and it still creates revenue for the company. Sounds a lot like subscriptions from the last video, right? But morally, it's just best to make the payments when they're supposed to be made. It's just one of those good, many good money habits that we all want to have. A solution to that can be to set reminders or notifications on your phone to alert you of those due dates. Now, on my last split payment plan, now if you're curious, they were used on football game tickets. I was getting notifications from the company's app informing me of the due dates, but one time I forgot one was coming, but I did have a plan on how I would fund the tickets, luckily. So I was able to rectify the payment that at that one time that I forgot without much issue. Then also another way to stay tuned in is to add it to your list of bills because that's basically what it is, another bill. If we were to choose one of these, like we go back to this $200 one that I talked about earlier, split it up into 4 payments. This $50 purchase would go on your bills. Now, if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, then okay, you'll see it as 50. But if you're doing a monthly, then you would write double that, write $100 on it. Then that will allow you to see that okay, this has to be paid as well. They're going the company that uses split payments for Foot Locker is going to be expecting their money fairly soon. And as mentioned before, not all split payment purchases are bad. It's not a terrible concept. Since it is available to us as a cost-effective measure in the moment, and we still get the product immediately as if we paid full price for it, of course, we have to at least try it out. I'm not ashamed to say I've tried it a few times just to see how it works and see how it will provide a relief to my wallet. At this point, I have not had any problems with it systematically, and it indeed helps the budget. But I knew that I couldn't go too crazy with it or I'll drown it with trying to make a living, although it is a temporary means of spending. However, temporary decisions can lead to long-term or permanent circumstances in a negative light, that is. So it's like having a salary advance loan, which I hope to talk about one day. Once you get that first one, you kind of have to keep doing it to stay afloat, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. Split payment purchases can also become a vicious cycle when it becomes a main means of spending. I'm not against using it at all, but hopefully these problems and solutions that I've given today will help us to lead with self-control when making these money decisions. Then that leads me to the verse of the session, coming from 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 5 through 9, which states, "For this very reason, make every effort to add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness mutual affection, and to mutual affection love. For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive in your knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. But whoever does not have them is nearsighted and blind, forgetting that they have been cleansed from their past sins." There are so many positive qualities here, and we can relate them all to how we use our money. Then it goes on to tell us the benefits and then even the consequences of abiding and not abiding by this instruction. I wanted to focus on the self-control portion of the verse. I believe getting out of control with our spending, especially with split payment purchases, is caused by a lack of self-control, then also a prevalence of impulsive behavior. And then take another look at the consequences. They refer to someone being nearsighted and blind, which means to me they cannot see beyond the present or into the future. And also, beyond that, there's just no vision at all. Now, planning for a better financial standing requires a vision for for the present and also, more importantly, for the future. Setting yourself up for the future that you want requires total self control amongst the other qualities listed, or it will be a struggle throughout your lifetime. This is what God wants from us, not for us to struggle for most of our lives, but to implement these principles and thrive in our finances and in other areas in our lives. And the wisdom that He provides will get us there. So let's seek Him day in and day out. And I would like to thank you all once again for tuning in to this session of Banks Wants You to Know, where financial discipline equals financial success. And I really appreciate you all hanging out with me today to learn some things about finances. And if you've heard something that you will find useful in your financial journey, then great. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who can benefit from the content. Times are hard, but we can build financial success together. Also, let's go in the comments. Let me know how you've handled split payments, what your approach is, and what you've used them on. It will definitely be interesting to see what you all say. Thank you again, and class is dismissed.